Nili. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm spending a couple days in New York, and we thought it would be. Can you hear me? Yes. Yes? Okay. We thought it would be a great idea for Nili and I to meet each other again. We've known each other for a pretty long time, actually. I've been a fan of her work for so long. Mm-hmm. I was telling her that she made a jacket. I don't remember that story, but I saw a jacket she made for a collection, and then it was out of production, and you made it for me, and I still have it, and that meant so much to me. And I was wondering how much you guys know her, and how fascinating her story is, and like kind of the dream for a lot of women to be able to grow such a personal business so organically. And so I wanted to go over your story a little bit. And you can ask me questions too if you want. I have stuff to say. Okay. But first, what language were you talking in the back there?
What language? Hebrew.
So how many people speak Hebrew in your company?
Not too many. I would say about 4 out of 60.
Yeah? Okay. And so where did you grow up?
I grew up in Israel, in a small town near the beach, about 20 minutes from Tel Aviv. It's called Netanya. I don't know if anyone knows it. Hi, Deborah. I can see, yeah. And very quiet, on the beach kind of town where between 2 to 4 everybody sleeps, takes a siesta.
Like in Corsica?
Yeah.
Where I'm from.
Yeah. Yeah. And had a beautiful childhood. And very quiet.
So how did you end up here in the middle of New York City?
New York City.
You know, like with your own brand and...
I don't know.
Giant success. Like, did you dream about this when you were a kid?
No. I did not dream at all to be here.
Did you love fashion? How did it start?
Okay, so as a child, I had a very specific opinion about style.
Okay.
Not fashion. I wasn't impressed by fashion at all, till today. I think there's something about personal style that impressed me, and I don't know if impressed is the word, but I was fascinated by it because I thought it was just another way of communicating ourselves to the world and feeling good about ourselves. So I, at a very young age, was looking for the things that did not exist around me, like trying to be different. We grew up where in school, we had a uniform, so we all looked the same. Throughout all years of schooling.
Right.
And at first we had this little blue and white check, and then we had this light blue shirt, and with this symbol of the school, and we were all wearing the same thing, which is nice, because I think when everyone goes with uniform, it kind of unified everyone.
Yeah, because my school was all about who has the new cool shoes. Okay, and I couldn't afford it. And it made me so frustrated and also not feel part of something.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I wish, I don't know if I wish, but I'm curious how my life would have been if, because coming from a small town, people put a lot of, appearance is very important because people see you every day. It's not like in a big city where whatever you wear, people don't really, but in a small town, it's like, oh, Garance bought a new car. Oh, she just, and that's how I grew up. And also, and there was no uniforms. And I remember sometimes being like, I can't believe I can't buy anything. And this girl was coming every day with new clothes. And my mom was like, but, you can be creative with what you have.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know how much uniforms are effective, because I think if you want to be different, you can figure out a way to be different even with uniform. And it's exactly what you said. It could be the shoe, it could be your ring, it could be your smell, it could be many things. So although they try to unify it, and I think there's something in the ideology, there is great intention.
Yeah.
The idea is that we're all the same. Doesn't matter how much money you have. We're here to study, to learn, and that's what's important. So the ideology is great. But I think in practicality, what happens is that, you know, the girls that have more money obviously carry a nicer bag and a nicer shoe, and the girls that don't have money, poor thing, you know, they have to schlep around with a nylon bag. So I think at the end of the day, it's not really working.
Right.
And I was there to beat the system. I was there like I'm not going to fall into this story of uniform. And I mean, I have long stories that I'm not sure this is the time to tell them. But I was fascinated by American, anything that has to do with American sportswear, but more so Americana than the actual designery things.
Right.
So I was dying to have a Levi's jeans, dying. And Levi's jeans was not something you can buy in the store in Tel Aviv at that time, not even, certainly not in my town. And there was sailors who used to come to the Haifa, port and sell out of their boat.
Really?
Levi's jeans. And I made my father, when I was 16, to go with me all the way to Haifa. I'm talking about 45 minutes drive, which is a lot there, to buy me a pair of Levi's jeans with a red tag, and I knew exactly what I wanted. And that was the most satisfying thing that I could have back then, being 16 or whatever I was.
How did you know what you wanted? Because there was
I don't know. I was
internet.
But there was films, there was movies, Hollywood. You know, I knew I wanted that jean, and I knew I wanted that gray-headed T-shirt that they were all wearing, and they looked so cool. Ellie McGraw and whatever, Love Story. I'm telling you how old I am, but it was just, those women were so cool.
Right.
And,
I had the same thing. When I was, sixième, I must have been 13. And I wanted a pair of Converse. Isn't it funny that we both ended up in America?
Exactly.
I really wanted Converse,
Yeah.
and they were not selling them in my island where I come from in Corsica, and I wanted high tops, white, and I told my mom's friend who was going to France, I was like, please, here is the money, like bring me back a pair of Converse, and she brought me back Converse, and they were low and blue, and I was so happy but so pissed at the same time. I was like, she doesn't understand.
Yeah, so that's how, I was trying to break the rules and have my own thing that nobody else had, which takes me all the way till today. I mean, what are we wearing, and what are we saying with what we're wearing, and what clothes are, and why do we need clothes? To the level that we purchase them, because we do not need that much clothes to the level that we purchase. And I think that's why this is kind of where it meets my philosophy of what I do. And one of the things that I love is having the opportunity of meeting women. Is really, there's something about the clothes that it's not about purchasing something or needing something. It's about, to me, and I keep saying self-expression, it's connecting to your own self, being self-confident, and all these things that clothes gives us. And they seem just clothes, and they seem just, something almost, there is a vanity to it, a sense of vanity, like who needs that much clothes? We don't need them. Cost a lot of money. We can spend our money on other things. But I think there's something about getting dressed in the morning and putting on, respecting yourself, putting on something that is beautiful in your eyes, feels good, it makes your day. When you are in your clothes, and I say, our clothes is our second skin, and you feel good, you're on to a great day. and you can do anything that you want to do. And when you are in tight clothes or something that is not you, or you feel, why am I wearing it? It bothers you the whole day, and you're uncomfortable. So I see myself, you know, like really, honestly, I design for myself because I know what I'm comfortable in.
So it's very funny because I'm trying to have you talk about yourself, and you bring it back yourself to your clothes and your sense of a mission towards women.
Yeah.
Which is really, I think, that's what you were just telling me about. It's like, I want to come to the moment when you create your brand, but I want to understand a little bit where, like, what happened, because how long, like, your brand is about, we
16?
were 16 years.
Yeah.
So what did you do before? Like, how did you get to the place where you were like, I have this mission and I want to talk to
The women, yeah.
Yeah, like what brought you there?
Well, it took time. So I graduated fashion school. I mean, I was always interested in having my own style. It wasn't the fashion, as I said. It was really, I would imagine those things that I'd like to have, and my mom used to make them for me. I didn't know how to sew. And, but mostly like really seeing things and saying how I want to feel and look, whether it was that gray-headed T-shirt or that Levi jean or whatever it was, but I had this thing in my head that this is how I want to look, this is how I want to, and not even knowing how it feels, but only wearing it, knowing how it feels. And made it happen for myself, whether it's my mom sewing it or my father going all the way to a sailor to buy it, or me going and exploring, really exploring. I think that something's really important at a younger age is to explore, to not just be in some sort of a thinking, okay, this is who I am and therefore I need to wear this. No, you can try different things. And then I went to school, to fashion school.
Where did you go to school?
In Tel Aviv.
In Tel Aviv?
It's actually in Ramat Gan, which is near Tel Aviv, but for the sake of us who don't know where Ramat Gan is, it's Tel Aviv. And it was the only fashion school in Israel, and the only one that has an academic program. This was the first year.
So let me ask you another question. Sorry, I'm
Sure, go ahead.
But how did your parents react when you told them you wanted to do fashion in Israel? Which, I mean, like, what future were you imagining for yourself? Like,
exactly.
Exactly.
So my mom was actually the one who brought it to my attention that there is a school that I might be interested in.
Wow.
She's the one who actually made me aware that this school even existed. Mm-hmm. I was in the army for 2 years, like not a hero, just did my service like any other girl in Israel.
I didn't know like even women had.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know if now they kind of get out of it, but back then.
Still?
They still do? Yeah.
Did you do it?
I was a conscientious objector, so no.
Oh,
but
okay.
Well, in my time, we didn't dare.
Yeah.
everyone I know was there.
So yeah, I was 2 years in the army, and then it graduated. Finished the army, and my mom said there's a really good school that just started a academic program, which means it's not about sitting there and sewing. It's about studying art and studying textile and studying draping and studying the art of making fashion, which was not good enough for my father. I mean, the fact that I got a BA, kind of made it easier.
Yeah.
But he expected out of me something a little more of in the direction of law or business or that kind of a. But I was always dealing with art and drew all the time for my own self or for other, for school. And so I knew that I have to use, that the creativity was in me and there's something that I need to use for my profession. So whether it was architecture or fashion, I wasn't really sure. Again, fashion was not something that I was looking up to or fascinated by. but I did admire quality, and I did admire beautiful clothes, beautiful objects. I didn't have to do clothes, anything. I was always admiring Yves Saint Laurent. I mean, at the time in the 70s, where I was in my high school years, Yves Saint Laurent was at its best. And so my mom used to go to a hairdresser, and they used to keep all the French Vogue and the Elle, and I used to flip through it and admiring it because nothing around me looked anything close to it. And I think it's the self-respect, this distinguished appearance that kind of I was attracted to. And so I went to school. I graduated from school with honor, and part of the school, they sent me to New York for the summer. And so...
Was it your first time?
It was my first time in New York. No, sorry, it was my second time. My honeymoon was in New York. And second time, and then my husband at the time was serving in the military, in the Army, in the Air Force for how many years? 9 years or 10 years, quite a long time. And when I graduated from school, he finished his military service at the same time. And my father actually suggested that he will go to study something that had to do with joining our family business. And so he came to study civil engineering for 3 years, and we were supposed to be back in Tel Aviv after that, and we stayed. We stayed. Okay. 40 years later, yeah. Here we are. How did it happen that I have my own company? And
so you had 3 children?
I have 3 children. One of them is right here.
Yes, one of them works.
Yeah, and I divorced the father of my children and married David, who's here. And together with David, now we have 6.
Wow.
Yeah. So...
Okay. So, thank you, because I really like, even for me, I was like, okay, I want to understand, like, how did you get to the point where you were like, this is time, I'm going to open my brand, or like start creating my own thing?
So I came to New York, and basically we just graduated from school. I had my portfolio, and I started to look for a job. And my husband at the time was studying in school, and I was the only one that could bring money into the household. So I went with my book and just looked at Women's Wear Daily and looked at wanted jobs and started to go. And everywhere I went, he said, but you don't have experience. And I said, well, how would I have experience? I just finished school. And no, and not get a job. Till I was visiting in Tel Aviv for just a summer vacation, and I met a friend of us, and he said, you know, I have a cousin in New York that has a business, and he's doing really well. Maybe you should go and meet him. And he basically opened the door for me. Wow. He introduced me to someone who was looking for a designer, and that's how I got my first job. And from there on, I went for 23 years. I was working in the fashion industry in New York. I worked for Ralph Lauren for a couple of years. I worked for Nautica. I worked for Liz Claiborne. And I worked for Adrienne Vittadini, that some of you might not even know who she is. And I won't even mention the one before, because you for sure don't know who it is. But the bottom line is that I pretty much, my first job, I was traveling all over the Far East by myself, designing and putting to work my designs. Anyway, for 23 years, I worked for other people and basically executing their dreams, their vision. And after 23 years, at one point, I've done it all. I was vice president of big companies, managing teams of 30 designers, really just doing the visual and the direction of the company that I worked for. And very spontaneous, I mean, really without even thinking twice, without any business plan, without any money, I decided that I'm going to try to, I should say there was a trigger to it. I was working for Nautica, and at the time, the founder of Nautica, David Chu, who was just in the process of selling his company and moving out, very like nonchalant in a car said to me, if you ever want to start your own business, I'll financially back you up. I'm like, oh yeah? Let's do it. And the next day, but literally the next day, I resigned and I said, let's do it. And he did not happen. I mean, he was just the trigger. But I thank him till today for being the trigger, because I think it didn't even cross my mind that I can do it without any means, without any plan, you know.
So how did you make that magic happen without a plan, without means, without a name?
I don't know. The truth is,
because you know
I
how
really
today
don't know.
people are like, you need investors, you need like, you know, I don't know if it's harder today to...
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I think that I have to say one thing, I do trust myself. And that's something that is really important to know.
Can
I
you
trust
tell us
myself.
more about this?
I think I'm very connected to my own self. And I don't know if it's my parents' love or whatever it is in life that made me confident, but not in a way that I'm walking around and thinking I'm a big shot. Confident with myself. Thinking that no matter what, I'm going to be okay. That nothing can hurt me. And even if it does, it's okay. So,
how do you handle the hard times? Like, because I feel like when you are able to have that trust, whether you have it naturally or you build it slowly, which I think is more my story. Like my life is about building that self-confidence. Like, how do you? Everybody in life has moments, you know, where our self-connection and trust is shattered by an event. Like, have you ever had moments like that where you felt like you were losing it, or is it something that's been really steady and that you can hold on to, where you trust yourself?
Yeah, I've had a hard time, quite a few. I think it's that same sense of trusting yourself that no matter what, you're going to end up good. Ending good is obviously, good is something that you cannot measure. It's not about having a lot of money. It's not about, it's really surviving. It's getting up in the morning healthy and living your day. It's not about big expectation. It's about, living your day. So I think that when you have terrible things happening and difficult things happening, you live it day by day.
Do you think that your culture, like, and where you come from, influence that? Do you feel like there is a different sense of this when in America? I know that for me, like, people talk a lot about how French people know how to, you know, like, enjoy the small things and all these things. And I agree to a certain point. I think, you know, depending on where you're from in France, like, you don't really have the same, thirst for achievement and all that. So, like, there is, I mean, it's hard to explain in one word, but, like, do you feel that there is fundamentals in your culture, like, where you grew up, that also helped you with that, like, seeing life that way?
Yes, I do. I think that, first of all, I'm a first generation of Holocaust survivors. I mean, my parents went through quite a lot. I don't know if it's directly has an impact on me because I don't think about it. My parents didn't want me to think about it that way. I wasn't like every day thanking God that my parents survived and that we're all okay. You know, it's not that I don't think about it I don't think about myself as a survivor or a child of a survivor. But I think it does mean something that you know that things don't come easy.
Yeah.
Things don't come easy. And you need to work for things. It's not just happens. You need to work for it. So I think that and obviously growing up in Israel where there's one, as we speak, there is a war in Israel. You know, you constantly under insecure. You know, there is always something that, I mean, people right now in Tel Aviv are afraid that a missile will fall on their house. That sense of being unsafe and insecure makes you stronger, for sure. For sure, it has an impact on all of us Israelis that living your day to day in insecurity, and in school teaching you how to run and hide, and you are constantly aware that there's something out there that can hurt you.
I've heard that Tel Aviv is one of the most fun.
It is.
City where you can go and party and everybody's out, and even when there is a threat that people still go on. I've never been. Like,
you should come, and I personally invite you to come.
Yeah, I would definitely.
And all of you. Tel Aviv is the funnest place on earth, guaranteed. I don't know if it has to do with the the situation, the political or whatever situation in Israel right now, but I definitely, the livelihood and the love to life and the spirit that is in Tel Aviv there's no second to it anywhere. Maybe not the easiest place to live in, maybe not the easiest place to make a living, but to have fun, this is the place.
Okay, so you start your brand, and what was I think I want to hold on to that idea of self-confidence, because I think anybody that has been wearing your clothes or like being in contact with your brand knows that you're on your own
zone.
You're on your own tempo, you're doing your thing, and it's almost like love it or leave it type of thing, and people come, and then it's like for life, just come back, which I think in today's world is one of the most valuable things, to have loyal customers and people fall in love. You haven't advertised like crazy, like there is not this, you've just built something. And you've explained to us that you have this like strong confidence. Like, what was the thing you told yourself? Were you like, okay, I want to make clothes for me and my friends? Was it like, I want to take over the world? What was the first idea? Very,
really all I wanted is to express myself. I wasn't thinking about, had no clue where it was taking me. It took me, I want to say almost 10 years. For my first 10 years out of the 16th.
Really?
To create my own vocabulary.
This is so important to hear for all creatives.
Yeah.
Because often we are so frustrated with ourselves after one try, two tries, and it takes, I remember because when I started as an illustrator, I didn't go to school and all that. I started going to see other illustrators. Please, will you meet me? Just 5 minutes, I have questions to ask. And one of them told me, oh, you have to know that becoming an illustrator will take you 10 years. And at that time I was like, I can't, but it's true. It does. Like, it's like, because you do the surface work, but you also do the deep work of knowing who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I did. For 10 years I was looking inside and saying, okay, what does women really need? We can design for the sake of design. We can sketch and put a button on it and put a flower in it and do embroidery on it and do all kinds of things. But this is designing for the sake of designing. But that's not what I do. What I'm creating a second layer for a woman. I'm creating clothes for women that's supposed to give them self-confidence. They're supposed to feel good in it. And present themselves in their best way. So I wasn't just thinking about how do I decorate, how do I make something pretty. I was thinking about the comfort that you have in the clothes, the fit, the quality that you want to wear, that you deserve to wear. You should not be wearing anything that is not well done. Why? Have one, but feel good. I don't know if you ever felt the difference between wearing a jacket that was well done to a jacket that was not well done. there is a technical knowledge that takes to construct a jacket that you deserve to wear. Because if you don't wear it, you don't know what it feels. It's like tasting good food or tasting good wine. You're drinking cheap wine, you never know what a good wine tastes like. You should have a good glass of wine. Have it once a year, but have the good wine. You know, we live once. So the way I saw it is first to understand what do I have to offer to the world. I didn't want to be another designer. I've been doing this for 23 years. I design clothes. I know I can do it. It takes an intellect and a talent to do it. It's not just about drawing. It takes understanding who you're designing to and what do they need. Or what does the Ralph or whoever I was working for, what's their vision about what a woman, what makes a woman pretty and comfortable. So I wanted to create my own version of it. And I created some sort of a foundation of the key 10 pieces that a woman needs. I also believe that things don't change, that what my mother wanted and felt good in, it's the same thing that I feel good, and me and my daughter, it's the same thing. You know, there is no 3-sleeve sweater, you know. It's the same thing. We've been wearing the same thing. I mean, yeah, things change from one era to another. We perfect our quality, the quality of our fabrics. They're lighter, they're not as heavy. They stand against rain and against, you know, the quality of the fabrics that we make today are by far better than they were in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s. But there's some...
It's funny you say that because people are like, do you love vintage? And I'm like, I really don't. Often because of that.
Yeah. I mean, they're heavy, they don't feel as good, they're not as comfortable. I love vintage from the sense of inspiration. Yeah. Because I think, as I said, things don't change. So there is something about preserving that look or that attitude and just making it new and fitted. Because the fit is the key to how you guys feel. And that's something that you have to master. That is not something that you learn in school. That is something that you need to, and I try every piece of clothes that I design.
But you look like a model. So how do you like extend to like a woman like me that has like boobs and but still feels great, you know?
Has a great body.
Has a great body. But you know, like today I think it's also so important and to, you know, be open and all that. Right. And like, so how do you, and you have friends and people around you that have all different types of bodies. How do you embrace that? And I mean, I've been wearing your brand for a long time, so I know it's
versatile. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly.
So, I mean, I'll take an example, the Cami Dress. That's been my iconic dress from day one. Every woman can wear it. And I think people get intimidated at the beginning. Oh my God, I can't wear it. It's like, so
I'm going to be naked.
But we constructed it in a way that it fits every body. Technically, it's being cut on the bias, and therefore, the fabric just stretches with you. And at the same time, it emphasizes the beautiful parts of your body, and at the same time, it's sexy. This dress is like the great example of how a piece of fabric hanging on 2 strings could make everyone feel good and look good, you know. And in terms of how I think about different bodies, I'm actually, you know, I don't know if I think enough. Maybe I should think enough. But I think that when I design the clothes, I don't think about myself. The reason why I put it about, you know, I do design for myself in the sense of what do I need. Because I believe that the life that I live has different needs, and therefore I'm trying to answer those needs.
I think that's the way to go personally. I think that the more personal you go, the more universal you go.
Yeah, and you're more connected to it. Yes. So I'm being informed by my own gut, you know, of what's right and what's wrong, and what works and what doesn't. I'm not relying on the news from the fashion shows in the last fashion week of what's the new thing. I'm being informed from what I really need and what I'm comfortable with. So the only way I can do it is by trying it on myself. I'm aware of it that I'm very lucky, and thank you to my mom that I have good genetics, and I don't need to fight anything. It's just naturally, working for me. But I'm aware of it, that there's different type of bodies, and everybody is beautiful. It doesn't have to be tall or short or whatever weight we are, but it's hard. So because I'm trying to make sure that you have enough to choose from what I'm doing that you will feel good in and yourself and comfortable. It's very hard. Like when you're looking, one of the things that I'm very particular about is to be accurate and precise. And I work on 1/16th of an inch in a fitting. Like I could tell I need the pen to be 1/16th of an inch a little wider. Wow. So I am so accurate that when you're so accurate, because it bothers me.
We were talking earlier, and I was asking her about her new apartment, and she was like, it's very, very, very minimal because my brain is always like, and I feel the same. I feel like I'm always thinking and this perfect. I mean, I'm not a perfectionist. I think you are.
I don't know if it's a perfectionist, but is not in everything. I could be very loose in other things, but at my work, I'm striving to get the best that I can. And I think what I was trying to say is that, like, when you buy something that is not gone through the process of what I do in a fit, and I fit every garment at least 3 times, if not more. So it's like about 2 times before it gets to the showroom, and then the models are showing it, so it needs to fit the specific models. And then when we fit it for production, so then it needs to fit a much wider audience, I fit it another at least twice. So every garment goes through a process that I make sure that it fits correctly. And fits is comfort, is not deciding I want this lapel or that lapel. It's more about the comfort. And when you have a company that's trying to reach to much broader audience than I have, you cannot be so accurate.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at, just as example, I don't know if it's H&M or J. Crew or any company that I respect, because I think the process of design there does not fail from what I do, but it's a luxury to be so precise, because if you're so precise, you're limiting the amount of women that can wear your clothes. And so as much as I'm trying to appeal to as many women, by being so precise, I'm limiting it. But at the same time, I find that different women can wear my clothes, and that makes me very happy, because by no means, and I want to be targeting a very narrow, tall, skinny women. No, the other way around. I want women to feel good about my clothes and about themselves, rather than feel like, oh, I didn't get into the clothes, and that makes me feel really bad because I want it and I can't have it.
Yeah, and some brands will do sizes that are like bigger or smaller, but then they don't fit them, so it's like the same, different. It's very tricky actually, but that's a technical problem with a lot of fashion houses.
The thing is that I could do bigger sizes than I am, I have to admit. Like, I think I don't do enough 10 and 12 and 14, which I could. I think it's a matter of economics.
Yeah.
Because when you're going into production and you have to make so many different sizes, it's not economical, because you end up cutting so many sizes, and what are the chances that they're going to buy the 14 or they're going to buy the 6 and they're going to 2? So you do some kind of an average and you say, okay, my client are somewhere between a 6 and a 10. That's the average. And so you kind of, when you go into production, you make more of those sizes because you assume that's what people will buy.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to be more generous to the women in the world, I should make more of the bigger sizes and more of the smaller. But
So
Sorry, guys.
tell us about those 10 pieces that you kind of built. Like, is it something you feel like, I mean, we're very much on the same wavelength. I have a few like things that I always will go back to. And I'm curious, what are your 10? I mean, I know my pieces, but I think they're probably
The
quite
same.
similar.
Yeah, I think every woman, if she asks herself, they are the same.
Yeah.
I think one thing I have to say is that you being, you know, I know you're from Corsica, but you grew up with a French culture.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something that I have a lot of respect to the French culture in terms of teaching from very young age, and it's not necessarily teaching, but just seeing your mother and seeing your aunt and seeing your grandma, how to take care of yourself. And not only that, how to find what is it that yourself needs and want when it comes to clothes. And it's for us, you know, I mean, I'm not American, but for American women, it's always like fascinating to see how these French women look amazing. And how did they get there? How come it's so natural to look so cool and to look so great? And I think it's education. I think it's part of growing up. Again, you know, we are informed by our environment and by our family. And I think that we, you know, there is definitely something to learn from it. And appreciating quality and less but better. And I think here, you know, and I think it's better now, but I think years ago, I mean, shopping a lot and for less money was more of the culture than rather than buying one beautiful thing and wear it all your life. And I think that this is kind of what I do. I want to make clothes that will serve you forever. I want to make clothes that you will feel good and get attached to it, that it will be like your self-confident piece, you know, and that's kind of that's why I'm putting so much love and attention to it, because it's not about making a piece of clothes that you're going to wear and then you're going to throw away and buy another one. No, you should keep it for life. It will serve you for life because it's made out of the best quality. It's constructed out of the best fit, and there's a lot of love, my love in the pockets, and that should give you your self-confidence. But what was the question?
Well, I was asking you about your 10 pieces.
Okay.
If you can name them.
Yes. So my 10 pieces, and as I said, it's all of us, is a white shirt, a cotton white shirt that you can wear.
That's mine too. Okay.
Yeah?
I'm just going to count. Okay.
I should say that I live in denim, and from a very young age, and I feel most comfortable in denim. That's me. Not everyone does.
Sliding on that chair.
Yeah.
For like 45 minutes. I'm like,
I don't know why, but that's what, I mean, literally, you know, people ask, what would you take if you go to a far island and you can only take 2 pieces? I would take my pair of jeans and a black t-shirt. That's all I really need from clothing perspective. Mm-hmm. But I have a closet full of clothes and I enjoy it. But so 1 pair of jeans, 1 black, 1 blue, for sure. Mm-hmm. A white t-shirt, your favorite white t-shirt, because there's different kind of t-shirts, and a black t-shirt, for sure. A white cotton shirt that you can wear all year round. I like kind of more like a boyfriend shirt, that it's easy, that is not tight, that I could feel comfortable with, and I can tuck it in and wear it out, and I can hang out with it, and it's like becomes like kind of your best friend forever. A pea coat. Every year I do a new pea coat in my collection, and every year, by the way, I do a version of the white shirt. Some sort of a pea coat. A short pea coat, a longer pea coat, a pea coat. A trench coat. You gotta have a trench coat. Each one of them serve a different purpose. Mm-hmm. In my world, the military jacket. And you know, it's funny because everybody asks me, why Army Green, why military? And I always have an answer. There's something about a military jacket that is very cool. And why is it cool? I don't know. It's functional. There's something about it. There's a lot of pockets. It's kind of rebellious. It's like, it has its own character. And I think when you wear an army jacket, you kind of feel very different than when you wear a pea coat or when you wear a blazer. A blazer, you know, some sort of a black jacket or a navy jacket, 1 button, 2 buttons, doesn't matter, that you can wear back to your jeans, or you can wear back as a suit, or what else?
I think we're almost at 10.
Almost at 10.
Yeah.
One great rule of pant trouser. You need a trouser like the Montana or any other trouser, like one that you can always go back to. Then you can wear the T-shirt with it. You can wear the white shirt with it. You can
Story
wear
of my life.
one
It's
silk
just
blouse
like-
with it. I mean, the whole thing is how to work it all. And especially when you travel. You're going for a week travel. You're not going to carry your entire closet or sit there and think every morning, what am I going to wear? You don't have the time for it. And that's not why you travel. You travel to either have fun or to work. So if you're taking 1 wool pant, 1 jeans, 1 T-shirt, 1 white shirt, 1 blazer, 1 pea coat, 1 trench coat, you're set. Don't need more than that. And in the evening, you wear a silk shirt with your jeans, put a nicer shoe, or in the day you wear sneakers, and in the night you wear, if you can wear heels, you don't wear heels, it's okay. All you need is 1 silk shirt to make it happen. You know, you can wear it with the wool pant and get a little more dressy. The key is to find your own little 10 pieces. I have my own, you might have others. And so every year, every collection, I try to make those same 10 in a new version. So if you didn't buy it before, you have another chance to buy it now.
Okay, I have one last question, and then we have to be a little shorter.
Yeah.
No, we're fine. Okay, I don't know if people realize the success that you've been meeting from starting your company on your own with a really clear idea, but just a really desire, to today where, I don't know, like you're everywhere, people want you. You also like didn't really, I mean, this is a question with millions of questions, so I'm trying to but you didn't play the fashion game so much. You're in it and out of it in a way. So you really went at it on your own, in your own way. And now you're in so many stores. Like I see your clothes everywhere, like but in good places. What do you think? Is there is it a miracle? Like, is it your talent? Like, is it because you're a great businesswoman? Do you know? Is it a little bit of all of that?
I think it's a spirit. I think it's an entrepreneurship spirit that I inherited and endorsed it and took it with me. It's the spirit of believing in yourself. It's the spirit of have a very clear vision of things and meeting it, not giving yourself any reduction, you know, like this is what it needs to be.
Did you have any time where you were like, I'm giving up? No. But were there times where you could have been like, I'm giving up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had times where I fought many things and people tell me, forget it, just close the company and move back to Israel. Moving back to Israel meaning like, this is it, yeah. I'm dead. I'm half dead. It's going home.
Yeah.
Home is very comfortable.
You did it. Yeah.
You know,
yeah, people often ask me on Instagram when I was sharing some hardships, and I'm like, it's time to go back to Corsica. I'm like, what?
Why?
Yeah.
No, I think what I do, and this is not to answer your question, but I go home quite often, especially now that David and I have been married, and I have a reason to go, and that feels really good, because I think touching home and reminding yourself where home is, and align yourself of who you are and where you're coming from is very, very important. But if you want to challenge yourself, if you want to get yourself to the best version of yourself and the most successful version of yourself, you need to get out of the comfort zone. And you need to get out of home. and out of mommy and daddy and sister and friends and all that support. It's beautiful and it feels good, but you will not get to the best version of yourself because it's just too comfortable. And I think that what I did, I got myself out of a very comfortable situation. I had a beautiful life in Israel. I mean, my parents were very well-to-do, and I had a good life. Lived in overseeing the Mediterranean water. I mean, I don't have that here. I look at a wall, and much more beautiful in the sense of beautiful of what it is here. But I think I am so happy and feel so accomplished where I am that I really found the talent within myself and the strength within myself to be. I don't know if I'm the best version of myself. I mean, I have still hopefully another years to live, but I definitely got out of myself far more than if I would be staying in the comfort zone. And so to understand, you know, the level of the success or how I got there, I don't even know to measure it. You know, yes, I definitely, when I walk the streets now and people recognize me, that did not happen a couple of years ago. And then getting messages, you know, about how much my clothes mean to other people and how they make them feel good and they're enjoying it. Certainly the amount of women that say that to me are greater and greater, and I definitely feel the size. I mean, from the business itself, I have 4 stores now, 4 retail stores. I'm selling in 350 stores worldwide, and we have a website, a very successful website that reaches out as far as you can dream. So I think that what brought me to this point is really the drive to be the best thing that I can get in this life, to get everything out of myself that I can in giving and taking, and it worked. I mean, I think I'm very disciplined. I'm very serious, sometimes too serious, but I take things very seriously. So when I do something, I go into it and I do it the best way I can, and it happens. You know, it's not a magic, and it's not luck. That's for sure. I mean, maybe there's a bit of luck and a bit of magic there. I don't know, because who knows? But I don't pray for it. It's not like I pray every morning for that it will happen. I just do it.
I think, what did I heard one day that working is praying?
Yeah.
You know?
If working is praying, then I pray all day long.
All right, that's wonderful. I think we're going to take a few questions if you have some. Else I have another 5 million.
Yeah. Thank you.
Actually, I have a question that I was thinking of when you were talking about. I've been buying from you for many years.
Thank you.
First started on the website.
Oh, thank you.
So that I was saying to your person here that for me, I love seeing your clothes, but I actually loved that you were small. And so I want you to be successful, but at the same time, it was so
You like to
special
keep
to have your pieces that people would say to me all the time, like, oh my gosh, that it was my own style in a sense, even though it was your vision. So there's sort of like a thing for me of, I don't want you to get too big, although I want you to be successful.
There is a way. I'm trying to figure it out of how not.
This was totally part of my things, because like when you fall in love with someone, you want to kind of like
Keep
be
it.
like, I'm part of that.
Like nobody knows you.
Yeah.
I kept you, but now you're getting too big, so I'm going to keep you in the closet. But my question to you was, did you ever think about naming the company something else besides your...
My name? When I started it, it was very natural to me, and I don't know why. Actually, it was very strange to me. Why would anyone want to wear a suit with a name, with my name on their button? It was strange to me. Or holding, when I see a bag with my name on it, it still feels kind of strange to me. But it seemed natural. Today, I think I would do the same thing. I don't know why I did it then. Then it was just felt like natural. But today I would know because I put my name in front of my brand. It's me. I stand behind every garment, behind every stitch. My name is on it. And therefore, I put all that love and energy in it because my name is on it. If it was a different name, there was a way to hide behind it. I don't think I would because it's not my character. But I think putting my name is very bold. It's like gutsy. Because by putting your name, and your name is who you are. It's you. So by putting my name there is not to be famous. It's to say, I signed it. Yeah. Trust me, this is good. And that's to me what it means. It does not mean, okay, I want my name everywhere now. Now in terms of growing my business, I've been fighting it for quite a long time. I was my foot on my brakes all the time, trying not to grow to the scale that I am. And I think the way I did it is I refused to sell to department stores. I sell only to small, privately owned stores. Barney's was one of my biggest clients, but they're still not a department store. And really my intention right now is to grow only through my own channels, which is direct to consumer, whether my own web or my own stores. I'm not planning to open a store in every corner. As a matter of fact, I'm big enough now. I don't need to be bigger than what I am. As long as I live well and I can make a living and support myself and whoever I need to support, it's good enough for me. I have no aspiration to fly jets and have a yacht and live my life in Saint-Tropez.
I want that. Yeah.
So don't worry, I will not be everywhere. And yes, you know, when people find out, and I think, you know, they all want to be part of that club, but we keep it as an intimate club. Yeah.
I have a question about your inspiration or references, and of course, thank you for the great story. But I think there is a kind of thread that I noticed, and maybe I'm projecting because I'm an architect, about architecture there. You talk about your parents having to do with civil engineering. You mentioned architecture as a kind of way of expressing your creativity, but also your clothes and like attention to detail. When you talk about like 4 inch, 8 of an inch, still drawing the details. Do you look, or where do you look for inspirations? What are your sources? What are your choices? Kind of reinvent your tendencies?
Right. It's an interesting process to create, you know, because especially in the world of fashion or style, that someone is actually determined the timing. And I mean, all designers are not trying to fight it, but at the end of the day, you know, we all have to produce 4 collections a season. So it's hard. It's very hard to kind of draw inspiration. So a lot of people look outside. I tend to look inside. And so what I have is years of things that I've seen and felt and read and you know, observed. I think that we pretty much determine the aesthetic eye and the sense style when we are in our very young age. I think it's like in our teens or maybe early 20s, I would say is the time. And then you just keep adding to it. And when I was in those age, you know, I had so many women that I was inspired by and men that I was inspired by. And again, I think what informs a lot of my clothes is the people around me. Right now, living in Tribeca and living that whole downtown life really informs a lot of my clothes. I think Tel Aviv informs a lot of my clothes. You know, there's something about not making a big deal about clothes. And I think that's something that clothes is there for you. It's not there to impress anyone. It's there for you to feel comfortable and to communicate out. How do you feel? Who are you? You know, and what mood are you in? But it's not to impress. So I've never liked, you know, surrounding myself with lots of things and layers and jewelry, and because that was not what I was trying to communicate. I wasn't trying to tell anyone that I own 17 rings or, and wear it all together. When it comes to architecture, yes. I mean, obviously, I love beautiful things. I have tendency to see things very much in lines and repetition and accuracy. So I probably could have been a good architect, but maybe in my second life. But I do look at things. I'm very technical when it comes to constructing the garment. I look at it as a item that someone actually lives in, like a house. So it's not a beauty thing. It's something functional that you need to live in it, feel good in it, be warm in it, or whatever you're doing in it. So yes, there is some sort of a architectural connection to what I do. I think every designer, but not everyone takes this part so seriously.
Thank you. And you had a question?
Yeah, you actually already elaborated quite a bit, but we have something in common in that our mothers made our clothes.
Oh.
And so, but it informs, in your youth, you have learned all of these things, like you said, from growing up, but you just internalize it. You don't really think about it. You go to school, and then you design for other people, and then you start your own brand. That's a different thing to do when you're 40 or, maybe beyond 40 than if you had started your own brand when you were 20.
Right.
So what do you think in terms of now, like today, you're designing now, and you say that you are inspired and still inspired. How do you connect sort of the energy you have in your youth, or the fresh vision you have when you're young, and you are where you are now, and you have maturity and maybe more elegance, more technical skill? How do you marry that when you're creating your collections?
I think it's all together. I think you go on a journey when you're born, and I think through this journey you constantly collect things that you see, things that you feel, and then knowledge and know-how, how to perfect a certain craft. And all of that together brings me to what I am and what I do. So I cannot say that, the nice thing is that I'm not saying, well, everything that's in the past is in the past. I'm only influenced by what's going on right now. That everything that I've collected from the day that I could see and look and feel is still installed in me. And then the fact that I opened my horizon and I left my little town in Israel and I came here and I worked in different companies and I met different people and I've watched as many films that I watched and read as many books as I've read and tasted as many food that I did, all of that adds to it. So when I'm working and designing, all of that comes into play. So that's why when people say, what are you influenced by? It's hard to say, well, I've seen this beautiful picture and that inspired me. That maybe was a trigger for a thought. And that thought is leaning on long history of references, intuition, I think somebody once told me, and I think it's very true. I always say that I'm very intuitive and I do things intuitively, but intuition is made out of intelligence and knowledge.
And confidence.
And confidence, exactly.
Because if you have an intuition but you don't follow it,
right, then the intuition doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But it's true. So it's the same. The creativity is the ability and the confidence that you can create something, but then it needs to rely on references. And obviously, the more you live, you have more references. There is a chance for all of you.
I have no idea how we're doing on time. What?
Probably over. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to say maybe one more question. And then we're
go ahead.
gonna do that. If you have another question.
No one?
Yeah.
Where are your clothes made?
Where? My clothes. 90% made in New York.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a whole, say like something between 6 to 8 factories between 7th Avenue and 8th, between 36 and 39. This is the area where all the factories are. I make it there intentionally, from an ideology and from practicality. I also make some things in LA because there are certain things you can always do in LA. And my sweaters are unfortunately being knitted in China because there's no machinery in the US to make sweaters on the capacity of what I make. But the yarns come from Italy. I make things in New York. I made it simple for myself because for all these previous years that I was working, I was traveling at least 4 times a year to Hong Kong, to Taiwan, to Korea, to India, to all these different places. And when I started my own business, I was a single mother to Mia. And I have other children, but she was at home. And I did not want to travel. I wanted to be near her. I didn't want to go too far. So I decided that I will create my world around me. I will make clothes in New York. I will have my studio near home so she can come from home and be near me. So that was the reason why I started to make clothes in New York. Lucky for me, because now with all these Trump new ideas, everyone who actually import things from China is paying quite a lot of duties, and that is adding up to the price. So I can really remain with my prices and don't need to make any changes because I make everything here. All the yarns and the fabrics come from Italy and Japan.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Look at you.